Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Nondumiso Nchangase, and for those of you who are new to the channel, please subscribe and also hit the notification bell so that you get notified when there is new content out. And please share this video with your friends and share just my channel with your friends, and maybe some of the videos I've done could help some of your friends or family members out. So today's video is about some of the best and worst financial decisions that I have made in my life. It's been quite a short life, but I think it is riddled with mistakes. And then also in those mistakes I've made, I've also learned from them, and I try to avoid them, and I'm hoping that from that you can also learn a thing or two. And then also please share in the comments if you really also have learnings that we can take from. Please do share in the comments. So and note that whatever I say is not financial advice. I'm just giving you my story, and you use it or lose it. But if you require guidance or financial advice, please contact a person who is registered with the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. So those would be your financial advisors and financial planners. So I started working in 2011, right? Just after varsity. I finished varsity 2010 and started working, doing, serving my articles for about 2 years. During that time, those were fun times, no responsibilities whatsoever. I was just like chowing my money. I was just going out and doing everything I wanted with my money. I literally had zero responsibilities. And then I would just give my sister, money for groceries, because I used to stay with my sister in Durban. Just give her money for groceries, but other than that, my money was just for me to chow, okay? So this one friend of mine, me and her used to save together. Well, not in the same account, but we used to just encourage each other to save. She was saving way more than me. So I think from like 2011, then 2012, I think after like a year and some months of us saving, but still enjoying our lives. Like we were really enjoying our lives. And then she passed away. When she passed away, and Lapo, she had saved so much because she wanted to buy a car cash. And I was saving, but just not as much as her. So I think my savings were like half of hers. When she passed away, that was tough for me. That was tough. And then I was just like, life is too short. I think grief is one of the worst things, because it will, it can make you make very bad financial decisions. So one of my biggest one was then when after, my friend passed away, I was grieving. I was a mess for some time. And then I went and withdrew my savings for no reason. But I was just like, what if I also pass away and I never get to enjoy my money? I took my money and I just blew it, literally. I should really be on, I blew it. But I literally, it wasn't anything constructive, but I just used the money for any random thing that I thought about at that time. That was not really a necessity. And remember that money was supposed to be money that was going to actually help me out, because I was saving articles. It was a contract. It was going to finish at some point in time. And then when it finishes, you might not have a job for some time. So you need to have savings. I didn't think about that because I was emotional. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was saying, now when she's upset, she spends. So I think it's the same concept when, you are emotional. Money or splurging or spending actually does so I think you need to definitely be careful of that. That was one of my biggest pitfalls, because from there, everything, sort of just went left because of that decision that I made to actually just blow my savings. So after that, contract finishes. Obviously, you knew it was going to finish, but you didn't prepare for it. And lo and behold, I didn't have a job. But it was like I didn't have a job for about 2 months. But during that 2 months, I just went and did my driver's license, and and then I got a job. So I worked for this small law firm for about 4 months. In this 4 months, I decided to buy a car. Luckily, the car that I bought was very small. I'll talk about that later, but I don't think that was a bad financial decision. But I should tell you that I think it was not a very well thought out decision, because I'm buying a car. I don't have savings. That means if my tire bursts, I don't have anywhere to go besides having to wait for my salary in order for me to, be able to, fix my car or whatever it is. So for me, I think just buying a car without actually having some form of backup, not just your month-to-month salary, because that's already budgeted for, then that's already an issue for me. But that's not a sequel up at the end of the day. I get fine. My new employer king the pay slip. Now I decide to buy a car because I'm just like, no, there's no way I'm taking taxis. I was fed up with this pingo rank. I was like, there's no way. And because I used to work for legal aid before, abo accused, the people that I helped in the criminal cases, they're like, yeah, sisters, oh, Melo. I was like, hey, no, the guys, there's no way. I am out. So I buy a car, and then my employer didn't pay me for about 2 months, right? And in that, so I first 2 months got paid, other 2 months uncocaine. And I think one of the things that I should have done there was to actually take legal action against my employer. I didn't. I think that's one of the things that you need to actually do when a person owes you money. Guys, don't be shy with going to court, with going to the CCMA, just take action, because now she doesn't pay me for 2 months. I'm in debt because now I have a car that I'm paying for. I haven't paid for it. And then because I started working, I opened clothing accounts because I needed to look good for work. So I'm now in debt because my employer is not paying me. So that was not really a bad financial decision that I made, but it's also lack of planning, because had I not used my savings previously, then I could have actually used, at the time when I now was not getting paid, because it was an unforeseen event. That's why it's important for you to have an emergency account for such situations, because right now you might think your salary is going to come in forever because you think your job is stable. I had a permanent job at that time, but my employer just decided, no, I'm not paying you. And then she would just tell me, yeah, no, I deposited the money. No, please go check with your bank. I go check with my bank. They're like, there is no money. And then the following day, no, I don't, my bank need stories on stories. And I never actually saw that money. So you need to actually, number one, do make sure that you do have an emergency account, because if you do not, then there are certain things that you won't foresee. You might think you know how your life is planned out, but there are things that are such blind spots that you never think will actually okay, and then they're okay. So that's why I'm saying emergency savings fund is very important. It could have saved me had I had it. I find again. Luckily, because I was such a great employee, guys. I think I am even now great employee. So my previous boss called me for a 4-month contract. Somebody is on maternity leave. Are you interested? I went. So now at least in that 4 months, I tried to recover, but I still couldn't recover properly. So then I went and decided to take an internship after, because now the 4 months is over. But now this is one of the things I would say was good and bad at the same time, because I decided, okay, I want to take an internship, because I didn't want to do criminal law forever. I knew that it wasn't for me. At the time when I did it, I enjoyed it, but I knew that I didn't want to I wanted my work to be more impactful. I didn't want to be helping, people sometimes would tell you that I did rape this person. And then you have to you're not actually lying to the court, but you also have to be a good attorney to them and make sure that, their rights are properly observed. So it's like, I'm not saying they are bad people, all of them, but I'm just saying I didn't want to be a part of that, because you never know who's lying and who is not. So I decided I wanted to get out of criminal law. I had an offer. I had 2 offers. One to be a prosecutor, one to be for legal aid, to be what is it called, professional assistant. So you still work in court, just you're done with your articles at that time. But I decided, let me take an internship. That's when I actually entered the financial services space. So I think for me, a lesson there, I mean, I was going to be taking this internship, taking a huge salary cut, I think 3 times less than what I was earning and what they were going to pay me had I taken those, criminal law positions. But I decided, no, this is not the route I want to take. Even if it means I'm going to take a salary cut, let me do it. Because now I was thinking my future, and then sometimes you have to think long term to say, long term, this is what I want. And in the short term, this can help me financially, but let me go for this. So, and then I decided to take this internship. It was rough, guys. 2014, the worst years of my life when it comes to money. Like it was rough. Like literally after I had debt. I had a very small salary. I think most of it went to my car. And then I just like after that, I'll have like 400 rands left for me to buy groceries. Can you imagine groceries for 400 rands for the whole month? That includes lunch at work. So it really, really sucked. And I mean, I had taken this decision knowing I wanted this thing long term, but I also had a discussion with my family to say, are you guys going to support me? They said yes, but unfortunately, life just went left for all of us in my family that year. Everybody had tough financial commitments, which they couldn't get out of, and then I had to be on my own. And that is when I actually learned, Tuguti, you will never be everybody's plan A. So if somebody comes to you, oh, please help me with this, and then you feel like, but this, no, they will find, help somewhere else, or they will be creative enough to find a solution for their problem. That is what I learned in 2014, because I had nobody, to help me financially. My family really was in a tough spot, and I had to fend for myself. I had to live with that 400 rands and stretch it. So sometimes saving people from their financial problems each and every time is not really good, because it doesn't actually help them budget properly. Because had I been having a person who was helping me, I wouldn't have been able to let this 400 rands stretch. So sometimes it's good to just let people, as long as the person is not going to die, let them be, unless if you do really have the financial means to assist. But now if you're putting yourself into trouble, let them figure it out. Anyway, I digressed there for a minute. 2014. Now, remember, I'm in debt. I was literally living on a revolving loan. And that is all the result of what? The first decision of using my savings. And I still can't save. How can you save when you don't even have money to eat? So for me, that was just like a tough time. What I learned in 2014, though, was that sometimes it's fine to suffer in the short term, knowing that in the long term you are sorted. I mean, after that, I got, I got retained at the company. Then I was working. Then money started, becoming a little better. So I could, start paying off my debt. But then I think the best decision that I made there was that I didn't actually change my lifestyle. So moment I got this permanent position, I didn't say, okay, now I'm going to go and splurge. Let me change my car. Let me change where I stay. No, I continued the way things were, just focusing on paying off my debt. Because I still wasn't earning that much. I was just like, it was okay. I was now surviving. I was now not living on 400 rands. That was the only difference. Oh, and then I think, guys, I forgot to say, this was like 2015. I think 2015, things started looking up. When they say there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I think sometimes just hang in there, because really there's always light at the end of the tunnel. 2015, after I got the permanent job, Usarzi just paid me like a huge amount. Like it was like over 10K. Yeah, at that time, obviously it was like a huge amount. I'm like, then it helped me. I was able to buy a fridge, buy all these things I needed for my place. I find then 2016, I changed jobs and stuff. And I think one of the best financial decisions I've been making is that each and every time I change jobs, or each and every time I get an increase at the current job that I'm at, I do not change my lifestyle. I can adjust it, because we don't want to suffer. because in the name of saving, no. But I don't actually think, oh, now let me move and go stay where. If I make sure that I choose a place that is safe at that particular point in time, and I can stay in it for, a couple of years or a couple of months, and then, when something changes, it's like, okay, it's either I'm finishing my debt or I'm increasing my savings somewhere. But again, 2017, I think that's 2016, 2017, I started saving. Then unfortunately, we had a loss in the family. When we had that loss, the funeral cover that we had was quite small. It couldn't cover the funeral costs. We know Black people's funerals are very, very expensive. So we had to have it was our first funeral, so we didn't even know what to do, how much to spend, that you need to have a budget, you need to stick. No, we didn't do all of that. We were just buying to make sure that, we give this person a dignified funeral. So I had to take all my savings that I had tried to build. Now, remember, 2014, I couldn't save. 2015, now I'm starting. 2016, then I'm starting, and then money gone because we have to sort out the funeral at home. So I think going back, that is actually one of I won't say a bad fight. It was really a bad financial decision. You know that you have a person at home who, if they pass away, they will be your responsibility, but you don't have funeral cover for them. Then you need to know that when they pass away, you are going to be in debt, or you're going to have to use your savings, which really sucks. So I think not having funeral cover for me was also a big financial mistake, because now my savings had to be wiped out. So and then I started saving again, obviously, indoda iyawa. Namhlanje kusasiphinde ivuke ngavuka, started saving again. I think from there, I really haven't had, many bad financial decisions. I have, tried. 2017, I just started saving, then investing as well. So I started saving, opening like a debit order account that will take money and save it for me should I have, emergencies, and then I started investing as well. And I think one of the things that I'm proud of myself for doing is, we know we have this thing, you could see, when you start working or when you start, things are starting to look up, you have to go back home and build either a big new house or you renovate. So Mina, I decided I'm going to have an emergency fund before I go home and do anything. As long as I know they've eaten, badlile, the ones who need to go to school are going to school, but I'm not going to actually use the money that is going to help me should I run into trouble to take it home until such time I'm sorted. So I made sure that I'm not going to get into debt, because I think 2014 had taught me that debt is not really good, because I was swimming in debt and I couldn't even service the debt because, I was an intern. I was not earning much and I didn't have savings. So I've waited. I think only recently when things started, looking up, and I'm like, okay, I have enough savings. I've invested enough. Then I'm like, okay, let's go back home. Then I'm like, okay, now I'm doing this thing without any resentment, because I know that I'm also sorted, So I am now, able to do everything that I need to do, and my mother has very expensive taste. So she's just like, I want that. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But I think just to wrap up, one of the best decisions I have made for me is not changing my car. I'm still driving the car I used to drive in 2013. It's in good condition. Visa each and every year, and it's paid off. And I know that, when I go back home and I'm, they're like, she's a lawyer, but look at the car she's driving. Sometimes it stings, but I'm just like, if I'm going to be making decisions, financial decisions, based on what people are supposed to perceive me, then I'm going to find myself in trouble. So, I've never changed my car. It doesn't give me any problems. I'm still using it. It's fine. I still drive home 8 hours from Joburg. I still drive home with that car, and it's okay. Me actually just not being into cars really helped me. But I think also, and I was talking to my sister about these things, and she was saying, Navele, she's always wanted a nice car and whatever. It's always been a dream to say, I'll do this for myself. And for those people, that's completely fine. I don't have that dream. I'm just like, this thing is going to take me from point A to point B, And yeah, like I really don't have much who I want this big car. Akufiki. So if unjengami, then you're lucky. But if you're not, then you need to make sure that you plan properly for the car that you want to drive. Don't actually go buy an expensive car unganama savings. I think that's a bad idea, because then you're going to have a burst tire. You're going to have, other emergencies coming through, and you're going to have to now take a, debt. So for me, that's my biggest, best financial decision, because I've been able to literally do everything that I've needed to do, and I'm still able to, I think, I can't stress this enough. But anyway, let's move on. And recently, I think the worst financial decision that I've been making, which now I've remedied since 2022 started, I was like, okay, it's a credit card. So I only started having a credit card in 2019. And I was like, well, Nami, let me just have it to book flights and stuff. But I actually realized that now I have this credit card, and I swipe it wherever I go. Like, I swipe my credit card, I'm not stressed. Then at the end of the month, you have to pay in like 4K, 5K, 3K. And I was like, but then the saying mentality, I can't say I'm broke in a credit card. I have this money and I know how much I earn. I know that I can replace this money at the end of the month. Then I realized that is actually a trap. It's a big trap. So I've stopped. I was like, okay, now when I'm broke, I'm going to admit that I'm broke. So now I'm just like, okay, imali every budget iphelile. I see credit card. Now I'm super balist. When I see something on sale, I'm just like, until the end of the month, and if unless I've planned for something, unless I have savings for it. But now I'm trying to just get rid of the mentality of 70 credit card each and every time you need money. So it was zero right now. I'm just like, I'm not gonna use it unless I absolutely have to use it. So yeah, those are some of the things I've done. And I think, the takeaway from that is make sure that you do have savings, because for me, the things I've gone through financially are because I didn't have savings. I did, but I spent because of you only live once. What if I die, right? And then the best is actually just not going to buy a big fancy car and living with the one that you've got, unless you now can properly afford it. And for me now, my car just sits at the parking lot. I take it to the shops, but because I'm working from home, I really don't need it that much. And I literally high five myself all the time, like, girl, maybe you are paying for an installment of a big car and ngabi a parking lot, because our 70s you are working from home. So yeah, man, I think those are some of the things that I wanted to share. As you can see, I really haven't had quite a scandalous life. It hasn't been that scandalous. Maybe we are gonna make it scandalous in the future. But yeah, man, that's about it. So I hope you can take something from it. And yeah, please go make good financial decisions and avoid the ones that some of us have made.